Padmé Nabiri Amidala. Stubborn, proud, passionate, and wise beyond her years, Padmé Amidala spent her life in service to the people of Naboo. As queen, she led her planet through its most dire crisis in generations. As senator, she tried to bring sanity to a republic on the brink of war. The citizens of Naboo performed mandatory community service when between the ages of 12 and 20. Elected queen at age 14, Padmé had already achieved more than some Naboo accomplished in a lifetime. Raised in a mountain village, she was groomed for a higher station from the moment of her birth. Her family, father Rui, mother Jabal, and older sister Sola, moved to Theed when Padmé was young. Padmé received instruction at the best schools, taking an occasional class retreats to Naboo's Lake Country. By age 7, she had enrolled in the Refugee Relief Movement, an organization with which her father had a long history. On one mission, she traveled with the movement to Shada B. Boran to relocate the natives before their sun imploded. However, many of the refugees, including one special child, Nakitullah, died when they were unable to adapt to life off their homeworld. Later, Padmé became an apprentice legislator. At age 12, she met her first love, a boy named Paulo, who went on to become an artist. By contrast, Padmé became a senatorial advisor and ceremonial princess of Theed. In keeping with tradition, Padmé took on a name of state, Amidala, when she assumed her royal position. King Varuna had held the throne of Naboo for 13 years, but his dealings with shadowy off-world politicians had eroded public faith in his leadership. He voluntarily abdicated the throne. Amidala and local governor Seo Bibble vied for election to the monarchy. Amidala traveled the countryside giving speeches, winning points for her commitment to reform. In the end, the people elected Amidala in a landslide victory. The new head of the Royal Security Forces, Captain Panaka, insisted that Amidala undergo self-defense and weapons training. He also implemented a time-honored palace trick, the use of lookalikes to act as bodyguards and decoys. Amidala's 5 handmaidens, Irte, Sabe, Yane, Rabe, and Sake, became her closest friends and were trained to take the queen's place in times of danger. A mere 5 months into Amidala's reign, the Trade Federation blockaded Naboo. Although Amidala could not understand why the greedy conglomerate had chosen to make an example of her planet, she nevertheless tried to resolve the conflict without violence. Ultimately, however, Neoboidian droid armies overran Theed. Amidala fled her homeworld in order to obtain help from the Republic. But the Republic Senate refused to act. Queen Amidala revealed the true measure of her fighting spirit when she called for a vote of no confidence against Chancellor Valorum and returned to occupied Naboo. If those in power could not be bothered to help, she decided she would free her beloved besieged planet by herself. Amidala's shrewd diplomacy won the help of the disenfranchised Gungans on Naboo. Her courage under fire, fighting alongside the Jedi Knights Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, along with the young boy Anakin Skywalker, brought about the surrender of Neoboidian Viceroy Newt Gunray. Amidala presided over a jubilant victory celebration in the confetti-covered streets of Theed. With her people liberated and Naboo's own Chancellor Palpatine leading the Republic, the future of Naboo looked bright. Queen Amidala finished an 8-year term and prepared to retire from public service at age 22. The people of Naboo tried to amend the constitution to allow her to remain queen for life, but she refused, feeling her time as monarch was up. Her successor, Queen Jamilah, asked Padmé to serve as senator, and she agreed to represent Naboo's interests on Coruscant. When not conducting business on the capital planet, she stayed at her family's home in the Theed residential area. The Confederacy of Independent Systems troubled Senator Amidala. Count Dooku and his secessionist followers denounced the corruption of the Republic, and while Padmé sympathized with their motives, she wasn't willing to sacrifice a governmental system that had endured for 1,000 generations. She served on the Republic negotiating team that tried to forge a peace with the Separatists, but suspected that Count Dooku was orchestrating terrorist attacks that threatened to scuttle the negotiations prematurely. Just before the Battle of Geonosis, Padmé returned to Coruscant to vote against the Military Creation Act, which would commission an army to defend against the Separatists. She felt this amounted to nothing less than a declaration of war. Upon her arrival, a terrorist bomb destroyed her Naboo cruiser and killed her handmaiden, Corday. After a second attempt on her life, she returned to Naboo under the protection of Jedi and Padawan Anakin Skywalker. The last time she'd seen Anakin, he'd been a 9-year-old boy with a child's crush on her. Anakin had grown into a man, and Padmé was unsure of how to handle his obvious interest in her, but once she dropped the professional demeanor she'd been maintaining since her days as queen, Padmé found herself falling in love. Padmé and Anakin traveled first to Tatooine to seek out Shmi Skywalker, then to rocky Geonosis. There they hoped to rescue Obi-Wan Kenobi, who was being held prisoner by Count Dooku, but instead found themselves tossed into a Geonosian execution arena. Padmé narrowly escaped death at the claws of a Nexu, and watched as the Republic's clone army clashed with Count Dooku's forces, the violent outcome she had worked so hard to prevent. With the Clone Wars now a reality, Padmé and Anakin married in secret on Naboo. She then watched as Anakin fell deeper into the dark side and became the armored nightmare known as Darth Vader. Padmé bore two twin children, Luke and Leia, but hid them away to protect them from the attentions of Emperor Palpatine. Her children grew up in the care of foster families, and Padmé died when they were still very young. She never saw them reverse their father's legacy and bring justice to the galaxy.
Well, I was going into Tarshian Station to pick up some power converters.
You can waste time with your friends when your chores are done. Come on.
Well, I was going into Tarshian Station to pick up some power converters.
Whoa!